Hello and welcome to the Fierce Urgency of Now in Today's Schools podcast. I am Dr. Cynthia Mama J. Johnson, a voice of hope in education, and I'm honored to be your host. Thank you, as always, for joining me for another episode. Now, before we jump in, let me remind you why we gather. The Fierce Urgency of Now in Today's Schools podcast is dedicated to disrupting, interrupting, and dismantling barriers to changing student outcomes in our schools. Why? Because our children need us now more than ever before. So we've got to meet them where they are. Don't leave them there, but to elevate them in a whole new level. I want you to know that my guest today, and I want to make sure I say her name correctly, Effuah, did I say it right? Effuah
Yes, you
Sam,
did.
I love it, is our guest today, and I'm so honored to bring you to the fierce urgency of Now family. Welcome in.
Thank you. Thank you. That
Wait,
is a wonderful.
let me say this. We're going to take just a moment today to let you know, first of all, that we are celebrating a national Teacher Appreciation Week. Now, I still haven't figured out in my mind and in my heart and my soul why Appreciation Week is in May. Because really, we need to start it on the very first day of school. Okay, because somebody needed you on day one, somebody needed some
Yes.
appreciation on day 15, and somebody needed you during the month of December just to make it through. You know how it is. You know how it is. But here we
Yes.
are in May. So we're going to celebrate this time. So our theme for this time is teaching with joy, resilience, and you already know the last word, hope. That's what it's all
Yes.
about. Joy,
Yes.
resilience, and hope. Let me introduce and just read a little bit about our guest today. Mrs. Effuah Sam has 25 plus years experience in education at the university, high school, and middle school levels as an educator and student affairs practitioner. She currently serves as the IB MYP Magnet Coordinator of the local Charlotte Mecklenburg School. She is certified and highly qualified. Come on, somebody say highly qualified performing arts educator specializing in speech communication and theater. She serves on various committees promoting academic excellence, artistic growth, leadership development, and cultural awareness. I'm going to stop right there because I want Mrs. Sams to come in and tell us your story. I can read it, but tell us something about
Yes.
who you are and why you do the work.
Well, thank you so much, Dr. Johnson, for this invitation and equally for this opportunity to be with you for
I love it.
Teacher Appreciation Week. And like you said, or preface that, teacher appreciation needs to be a year-long thing because what educators are dealing with and what they are going through,
Right, right.
even in our state, tomorrow is a optional teacher workday for many schools.
Okay.
Teachers are going to be in protest in Raleigh,
Oh,
demanding for change and demanding for their fellow educators and also for student reforms to be had at the state level. So
great.
I am passionate about education. I feel like it's the catalyst to change our world. And you know this in terms of the opportunities that a quality education has for you. Equally thinking about the IB program that I'm involved in, and
Love that.
majority of my tenure in education has been with the International Baccalaureate program. And I just think that there's so many opportunities that students can really get into and understand this fierce urgency of now
Yes.
through their studies in this framework and approach to learning.
Oh, I love that. I
Mhm.
love that. I thank you so much for sharing about the protests and things that were going. I had no idea.
Yes,
And
yes.
that's part of that teaching with joy.
Hmm.
Things will happen that will try to steal your joy. But you got to remember
Yes,
that joy comes from within. Nobody gave it to you and nobody can take it away. But
yes.
really, what's happening tomorrow is
Hmm.
about resilience. And people
Yes,
are saying we need change and we need change right now, not tomorrow. We need it right
hmm,
now.
yes, yes,
Ooh, so I'm gonna keep
yes,
them lifted up. I just want you to know I'm gonna keep them lifted up
yes,
as they
yes,
march and whoever is all a part of it. And sometimes you don't have to physically be there. There's other ways.
yes.
I saw a post on your Facebook that said something about there's ways to protest. You were talking about other things.
Absolutely.
There's
Yes.
ways to protest without marching back and forth. So I get
Yes.
that and understand that, but
Yes.
I honor what is taking
Mhm.
place.
Mhm.
I thank you so much for sharing your story, and that leads me into my very first question. What brings you to the work of teaching today's youth, and what keeps you
Mhm.
in it?
Yeah. So initially, and we have a similar background
Yes.
in terms of speech communication and
Yes.
theater, but initially I actually wanted to deal with speech impediments and
Oh,
or those who were having challenges, and you didn't know
wow.
that.
No, I did not
Um,
know that. Wow.
Yeah, so I went into the profession education with speech pathology kind of as my frame or
Wow.
reference. And then I
Yes.
wanted to segue into ultimately being with those who are a little bit more capable in terms of command
Right.
of the
Right. Right.
language
Right.
and not
Right.
dealing with the disability or impediment and wanting to focus on stretching students to be their best selves and using communication as a catalyst for action, for theater,
Right.
in performance to build that confidence in students. And so that is kind of the way in which I went, or my path of pivot, if you will.
Uh-huh.
But also thinking about the opportunities that there are in the field of education to
Yes.
empower and to challenge our students to be their most successful selves. And so that is why I stay and why I'm passionate about this thing called education and working with youth to really let them know that they are somebody and
And act
they
like it. And act like it. That
act
what you
like it. Yes, yes. That is a phrase I coined. I had an
Yes.
educator very early on in my high school experience who would say, smile and pass it on. And
Uh-huh.
so I wanted to come up with something
Right.
that meant something to me and equally to impart it in my students that they are unique. They have a voice, that they have something to say to the world,
Right.
and equally the twofold dynamic with acting, like a person of worth and of merit, and then also thinking about the character in theater that you are performing like someone and you need
Yes.
to own that and bring that to the stage and bring that to your performance.
Wow.
And
Woo.
so that is kind of my teaching philosophy and where I've framed a lot of what I do.
I love that. I love that. And I'll tell you what, you hit on something when you talked about speech pathology. And I always joke when I tell my story. I said we couldn't even spell pathology.
Yes.
So, some people in the audience may not know that I had a severe speech impediment. In fact, I
Mhm.
still stutter to this day, but I know how to deal with that utteral blockage. If you
Yes.
see me breaking out and sing a song, that's because my mother taught me how to sing to overcome stuttering.
Yes.
So when you talked
Yes.
about that, I'm like, what? Did
Yes.
not know
Yes.
that. And the thing I want to tell about our to our audience today is that I've had you on as I have you on as a guest today, and we came from the same hometown,
Yes. Yes, we
Warrensburg,
did.
Missouri. Now I didn't know you because we're different ages, several years in between us. Of course, I'm older, but we
Uh-huh.
have that same degree in speech communication and theater. We were in that same
Yes.
building at Martin
Yes.
Building on the University of
Yes.
Missouri State University. So, but I
Yes.
said all that to say that, how you use theater to build that confidence and things in children. And that's why I went ahead and got that degree. I was involved in forensics. People said I
Mhm.
couldn't do it. The
Mm.
rest is history. But this is what I do want to say
Yes.
before we go on,
Yes.
because we're talking about the work that you did in high school and also in college. I cannot go on without honoring your mother and your father.
Yes. Well,
When I
thank you.
showed up
Thank you.
in 1983 at
Yes.
Central Missouri State University, scared to
Yes.
death because people had always told me I couldn't, I wouldn't, and I
Mm.
and I shouldn't, but I always believed this, that yes,
Yes,
I
I
can.
can.
Yes, I can. And you see, I keep it with me in front of me everywhere I go.
Yes.
But I showed up, and when I went to select my first classes, they assigned me to an advisor,
Mm,
and it was
mm,
none other than Mrs.
mhm,
Carolyn Menz, your
mm.
mother,
Yes.
your mother
Yeah.
in
Yeah.
1983. And how
Yeah.
I loved her and how I still love her to this day. I
Yeah.
love her and I love your father still. So I just have to honor, I have to place honor where honor is due. I can't just
Yeah.
go on in life and be like, oh no, I'm doing this podcast. No, I have to
Yeah.
give my flowers to those people.
Yes.
So your
Yes.
mother knew that. And when during our
Yes.
homegoing, I told you earlier, I was right there. I was
Yes.
right there.
Yes.
And I
Yes.
saw when people came in and wiped, and it just overwhelmed me.
Yes. Yes.
How
Yes.
magnificent. So I just want you to know that it's an honor
Yes.
not just to have you on it because you're an educator, but I'm
Yes.
having you on also because of
Yes.
your family and the legacy
Yes.
that they have left.
Yes. Well,
Yes, yes,
thank you. Thank you for referencing her, speaking her name, and remembering
yes,
what she contributed to your life. And
yes,
I'm living testimony to the power that she had and impact she had on many, many people's lives, but equally mine, especially as her child, her daughter.
yes,
An immense, immense woman of faith,
yes. Ooh,
of
yes,
artistry, of creative energy and passion for empowering others and
yes,
for giving of herself,
yes.
a selfless woman.
Exactly,
Yeah. So
exactly. And she
thank
was
you.
you are welcome. Like I said, she was so involved in so many things in
Mhm.
Warrensburg, but on campus, whether it was
Mhm.
Association of Black Collegians or whatever. I mean, all these different things. But I would see her, and she would just be this pillar. It wasn't that she
Yes.
was, that tall or what, but just she was just this pillar in the community that I'm like, oh my gosh, this is my advisor. First of all, I saw somebody that looked like me.
Yes. Yes.
Growing up in Warrensburg, we didn't see all that. We're not going to talk about all that. But
Yeah.
anyway, I had your mama, I had my cousin,
Yes.
Elder Morris Collins, and things,
Yes.
and Ernest Collins, also two different cousins. The
Right.
music, one was a
Right.
music teacher, one was an art teacher. But anyway, thank you so much.
Yes.
Education is so absolutely
Yeah.
important. I want to take you to our
It
next
is.
question. Tell me about your role in the Charlotte Mecklenburg School District, and how does it really support students and teachers and leaders and even family members in the work that you
Mhm. So my work is multifaceted.
okay,
So I am working with select magnet students, also with families, and also with a whole school in terms of this framework of IB. And I like to think that I have great influence in terms of the presence of IB in our building,
right,
and equally working with district leadership and with the IB organization to bring this philosophy and framework to life. One of the things that is unique about IB is that it's very interdisciplinary. And so we focus on collaboration, we focus
yes,
on thinking about the world around us and that global mindedness and internationalism, and that we are not isolated. We are not alone.
right,
And in this world, we need to think about and be action oriented to create the change that we want to see. And so,
yes,
thinking about the fierce urgency of now, it very much so is in line with the IB program, thinking
okay,
about our others, thinking about action, and thinking about inquiry. So being curious,
yes,
what is happening with this person across the way? What can I do to serve them? What can I do to help them? And so that is something I'm passionate about, have been involved with IB schools for, again, like I said, most of my career.
okay,
And I'm very passionate about what IB can do for our students, especially those of color.
okay. Oh, excellent, excellent, excellent. Why is it important, if you will,
Hmm.
to integrate or to integrate arts and IB? I saw that in the work and things that you're doing. Talk to us a little bit about that.
Yeah, so as I said, the IB has a lot of interdisciplinary connections. And so thinking about the arts are a subject that many students come to school for, right? They
Yes, and it
want to
keeps them
be
there.
involved. Yes, and
Yes,
keeps them there.
yes,
They want to express themselves. They want a creative outlet. They want to connect with other people
right.
through an instrument, through their voice, through acting, through
Yes,
visual arts or what have you. And so the IB allows for that inquiry and the creative energy that oftentimes they don't get in other subject matters or other
okay,
content
okay.
areas. And so the arts are very powerful. And they have an ability for students to see themselves and for
Yes,
them to see other people
yes, yes.
and to acknowledge the humanity and what is going on. I think of protest art, as we mentioned,
Yes.
people marching and people taking action right now
Uh-huh.
to impact educational change and reform.
Right.
And there are going to be, lots of posters that people make, displays that people have signifying kind of action and change.
Right.
And the arts are a beautiful modality for that, to really allow people to have a voice and
Right.
to exhibit what they want to see ultimately in the world.
I love that. I love that. I love everything that you've said there. I mean, that's so important to me because I love to integrate not so much the IB piece, but how I use the arts, whether it's
Mhm,
singing, whether it's through speaking, whether it's through dramatic interpretations, all of those different things. I always
mhm,
think, I always laugh and say, I didn't get that artistic to, to draw and things like that.
mhm,
And
mhm.
but I did get some other gifts, from the
Yes,
arts that I get to use and things as well. So
yes.
I love what you have said there. Let me go to another question. You've already kind of talked about the fierce urgency of now, and I love that how you have coupled that together
Mhm.
and where we are. Right. Was there anything else you wanted to add to from your perspective? What is the fierce urgency of now in today's schools?
I think part of it is also the equity piece, right?
Oh,
In
okay.
that
Yes, yes.
there
Let's
are
talk to it.
schools that you will see, and as we talk about the arts, that arts programs are being cut. And I question why.
Yep.
Because again, at the root of how people interact, how they learn, even from the very beginning with the dramatic play and
Right.
different things that kids will do, it's at the center. And when we think about like the pandemic, for instance, what did people turn to? They went to
Right.
their music, they went to film,
Right.
to
Right.
kind of escape and or
Right.
relieve
Right.
themselves. And when we think about equity in our schools and building equitable schools and classrooms, oftentimes the arts again are those pieces that are cut or scrapped,
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
when we should be reverting and or focusing kind of foundationally of putting students in the arts-based courses,
Right.
and then scaffold out from that or spiral out from that, to really tap into their interests and to connect with them and build that cultural piece so that they can master and get those other skill sets that they may be having gaps in or whatnot. But
Right. Right. Oh,
it
love that.
saddens
Love
me
that.
that when we think about the urgency of now, that
Uh,
oftentimes there may be what I call deserts of the arts, where there's only one program, be
right.
that visual art or be that music, and then we're not tapping the other modalities in our schools. And that is one of the things that I see, not to mention the other issues or challenges that there may be that, quality educators,
Right.
be
Yes.
that equipment or facilities or whatnot. But I think the equity piece is also something that King talked about, and
Yes.
refers to that equity piece that IB oftentimes addresses,
Right.
and can be looked at as a framework to shape kind of how we do educational reform.
Oh, that is so good. So, and I love that you have taken that fierce urgency of now and you have gone in a completely different direction than all the other 51 guests.
mm,
I love
mm,
that because you're
mm,
looking at it from your perspective and your lens, and you understand that intersectionality of the
mhm,
arts and IB and how
mhm,
all of those things help our children become and remain successful. And for
mhm.
me, I look at it from the arts and what students can bring. What gifts do you
Yes,
have? I always say,
yes,
what do you have? What do you
right,
But I
right,
also look at it from the lens of being able to express who you are.
right,
Show the
right.
world who you are. You have your slogan that you have coined, and my slogan that I've coined, that I tell my students that you have the power to be great.
Yes,
And greatness is not a
absolutely.
level to attain.
Hmm.
Greatness is becoming the best version of who you are.
Absolutely.
Tap into your power.
Absolutely.
I would go through
Yes.
my schools, wherever I would go, and I would say, like my last school, I would say, Lawrence High say power. And the
Yes.
students would
Yes.
start singing with me. They would repeat after me,
Yes.
because that was so important. I wanted students to tap into the power. That's the power that you're talking about.
Hmm. Hmm.
That students
Absolutely.
can tap into. And I love what you said. Let me
Yeah.
go to another question. Oh my gosh, we have so many good questions and so many good responses. I'm thinking I'm not going to get to all these questions, but I do want to ask this. What are you willing? I got to ask you this because you got my fire. You got me going here. What are you willing to disrupt, interrupt, and dismantle to
Hmm.
ensure that students have access and opportunities to thrive? I know you got something to say about that.
Yes, yes. I was just quoting the late John Lewis
Okay, yes.
today, talking about good trouble,
Come on now.
and
Come on. Come
I'm
on.
always down for some good trouble.
Come on.
When
Woo!
you are in a room, when you are in a space, and you
Yes.
see a wrong being done
Come
to our
on.
children, to education, you
Yes.
got to speak up.
Come on.
You got to shout
Yes.
out. You got to speak your truth and
Right.
equally say what is right and what is wrong.
Yes.
Be an advocate, especially when you see things are just harmful and or not being done to the benefit of our students.
Woo.
When I think especially about Black and Brown children,
Mm.
and what has been done to harm them, and what has been done in educational settings in
Right.
terms of being good for,
Yes.
it's not good for.
It's not good.
And we've done a lot of harm. And so I am very action oriented. I will speak up, I will say things. Sometimes, to my detriment, I guess you could say, but it is for the good of the student.
Right.
And I think one of the things with IB, and equally just within the arts, it has strengthened me and or given me the fuel to use my voice
Yes.
for change and to be an instrument to speak truth to power. And so I think where and when you are able and capable, that
Mm-hmm.
you should be a
Mm.
disruptor,
Woo. Come on now.
that there is good trouble that we can all get into.
Right.
We've seen some things, obviously, in our world, in society right now
Yeah.
that are not good
That's not
and
good.
that are harming people, disrupting families, disrupting lives.
Right.
And we need more change agents and bold people to
Yes.
speak up and say the truth, and also to empower others to use their voice where they are at in particular offices and
Yes.
or in our local communities to be about change.
Mm.
Be about change. Be the change you want to see, which is Gandhi quote, that is
Yes.
part of my signature as well, that you've got to do it for yourself, and then
Yes.
obviously that impacts other people. And that again is part of that IB framework of thinking
Yes.
about the world, that we are stewards and we are guardians
Mm.
of this
Woo.
planet and helpful to our fellow man where and
Woo.
when we can. It's not just about us, it's about service and giving of ourselves to other people.
Woo. I love that. Oh my gosh. You have preached a whole sermon. You didn't even know it.
Well,
You got
thank you.
me.
Thank
You so many words, but the word that just blew my mind is when you said steward. Every day
you.
I pray,
Mm,
Lord, help me to be a good steward over all
mhm,
that you've given me. You talked about how you were quoting John
mhm.
Lewis today. I want you to know before this episode, recording this, I was in my kitchen now. You know, I'm a country girl. You know,
Yes,
we can play like Warrensburg was a big city. It was nothing but the country. Okay. So
yes, true.
I'm in my kitchen making my country meal of pinto beans, ham hocks, cornbread, and spinach. But I want you to know
Yes,
I was talking about John Lewis, and I said if
yes,
John Lewis was here right now,
yeah,
he saw what happened on
yeah,
yesterday with the vote.
yes, yes,
What would
yes,
John Lewis do? I mean, all
yeah,
I could think about him was crossing that Edmund Pettus Bridge and
yes,
being beat down.
yes,
That was for
yes, for
voting
voting
rights.
rights,
Come on now,
voting
come
rights.
on.
Yes,
Yes.
yes,
So, oh my gosh, so many things. Woo,
yes,
so many things.
yes,
But I love
yeah,
that being the change. We have to use our voice.
right,
We have to get in good trouble. You
right,
have to
right.
be, you can't just talk about it. You can't say, oh, well, you know,
Yes,
you can't just write about it. You can't write
yes,
about it on social media. Oh,
yeah,
be the change. No, be the
yeah,
change. Be and change is an action where you got to get up and be the
absolutely,
change. You got to move. You got
absolutely.
to do something different. You got
Yes,
to speak out,
yes. And
especially
when
for our
I'm
children. Yes, go ahead.
Yes, and when I'm writing action, I
Uh-huh.
spell it with capital ACT,
Okay.
lowercase
Come on now.
ION.
Yes.
So action,
Yes.
that we are acting
Right.
upon whatever it is that I
Right.
follow after that
Right.
phrasing,
I
but
saw that.
I
I saw a post
stress
that said
the
that.
act.
Yes, I
Yes,
saw that. Oh, girl, that is
yes,
good.
yes,
That is good.
yeah,
We have to act. We cannot
yes,
sit back. You know, somebody
no,
asked me, they ask me all the time, girl, you want to retire? And I said, and do what?
yes,
I said,
yes,
first of all, God didn't give me children. God didn't give me natural children, but what he gave me is
yes.
the ability to love all children. And those are my students. So I
There you
asked
go.
them, I said, are children still being born?
Yes,
I said, yes.
yes.
And Mama J still has work to do. I still have
Yes,
work to
yes,
do. That's my
yes,
action. That's my
right.
way of saying I am taken care of now. Whether I'm doing mentoring, I call it my drive-through mentoring. I can
Yes.
drive to McDonald's through here, and
Mm-hmm.
I don't really, well, I'm not gonna talk about it. I can drive through McDonald's and they know my voice.
Yes.
Be like, Mama J's in drive-through. And these are students from all different cultures. They come to
Yes.
the windows. The manager's like, who is this woman named Mama J? And why have people left their post
Oh,
where they're
oh,
supposed to be working to see
yes.
Mama J? But I call it my drive-through mentoring. I
Yes.
go to
Yes.
Walmart and see
Yes.
people that I mentor. That's action.
Absolutely.
When I see
Absolutely.
black and brown children working at Walmart, this is what I ask them. I say, are you planning on becoming manager one day? They said,
That part.
no. They said no. I said, oh, then what's your plan? What's your power plan to get to where you need to be?
Yes.
And
Yes.
one girl, she said, well, she goes, I've got to do this right now to help my mama. That's great. So what are you going to do to
Yes.
help mama and help yourself? Because unless
Yeah.
you're planning on being manager, unless you're planning on working up to a CEO position, we need to find someplace else for you to serve. That
That
part,
part.
that part. You hear
Yes.
me? We
Yes.
both said it. That
Yes.
part.
Yes.
Not that I mean,
Yes.
I'm happy to see you working and earning money, but I want
Yes.
you to learn other skills to be able to
Yes.
make it in this world.
Yes.
You know,
Absolutely.
I mentor college students at UMKC and
Okay.
first generation students. I
Yes.
think about this particular day. It was all Hispanic Latino students. There was one.
Okay.
I was like, where are my African American students? None. I loved it.
Uh-huh.
Because you know what my
Yes.
students said to me, and I said that because it's important because I thank God for the ability to be able to
Hmm.
meet and connect with all different types of skills. I thank Warrensburg, Missouri for that because all the different
Yes.
people that would come into that town for
Yes.
university or Whiteman Air Force Base,
Hmm.
we had all
Yes.
different types of people around us. That's why I said that, not because I'm pointing out the difference in African American and Hispanic or Latino. Um,
Yes.
but I said all that to say the students said, Mama J, will you
Yeah.
teach us how to make it through hard times?
Oh,
That's what they wanted to know.
Oh,
They didn't want to know about, I mean, that they heard about, being a
yes.
teacher, because these were all future educators,
Right, right, right.
but teach us how to make it through hard times.
Oh, wow.
That question or that statement has played in my
Yes,
mind over and over and over. That's why for this Teacher
yes,
Appreciation Week, that's why it's so important
yes,
to keep that joy. I've heard about how
yes,
you keep your joy. I've seen that
yes,
in the work that you
yes,
do, but you've got to have some resiliency because you're going to
yes,
come up against some stuff
yes.
that's
Oh,
going to knock you
absolutely.
down. And it's
Absolutely.
just not just a pandemic. That's one thing.
Yes,
I think
yes,
about it,
yes,
people are like, well, Mama J, where were you during the pandemic? I was a high school principal. You hear me?
yes, yes,
High school principal co-leading a $50
yes.
million construction project, because that's part of the other
Right,
work that I do.
right. Wow.
In the
Wow.
midst of all of that, trying to
Yeah.
keep my sanity,
Yes,
and
yes.
having to shut down things, and we're all these different places. I mean, I look back on that, I'm like, now was that a movie or did I really live that?
Right, right. Yes,
I keep all
yes,
of my stuff from the class of 2020, how we had to
yeah,
do graduation and all those different things. That's action and encouraging those students. Even though I had my mask on, I wanted my students to know and shaking their hands before
yes,
they left out for the last time. I may not ever see them again.
yes,
You have
yes.
the power to be great. And what I would always end the school
Mm-hmm.
day with, you are loved.
Right,
You are
right,
loved.
right.
Love is an
Yes,
action
yes,
word. So I
yes,
appreciate that
absolutely.
act. I'm going to have to use that action, but honey, when I do it, don't you know that I will be putting down Effuah Sam. You
Yeah,
hear me?
yes.
I'll be putting that in. According to Effuah
Yes,
Sam. I just went to tell it.
yes,
This is the very last question. Oh my gosh, I know. I said, okay, I'm just gonna come in. I'm gonna do it real quick. I'm just gonna do 15 minute girl. There's just so much to be said and so much to be done today.
yes.
This is the final question. What is your call to action for teaching with joy, resilience, and hope?
My call to action is the students. They are the purpose of the work.
Yes.
And so thinking about the call to action, it is acting for them
Come on.
and acting for their behalf and thinking about what can I do
Yes.
to impart my knowledge. And as you mentioned, mentorship,
Yes.
and quality mentors matter. There was a quote by Dr. J who said, we were once mentored and now you become a mentor. I'm kind of paraphrasing,
Yes.
but
Yes.
basically to say that when you have that opportunity to breathe life into
Yes.
somebody,
Come
when
on.
you
Woo!
have that opportunity to encourage someone,
Woo!
you need to do it. And as educators, because the work that we do is so challenging, and especially at such a time as this, that
Yes.
we need to think about our fellow educators
Yes.
and creating space and creating opportunities for support for them and for this work that is so vital and so meaningful,
Yes.
and impactful right now.
Right.
When we think about, again, addressing some of these challenges and inequities that we see in education, it is going to take us to be continually
Yes.
fueled with joy,
Come on.
with resiliency to sustain and
Right.
to be long term in this field and in this work. And through, the arts, as we mentioned, those things that people oftentimes turn to for the comfort. If it's just a space of silence that you need a
Uh-huh.
moment,
Yeah.
whatever it is, that you need to refuel, regroup. But again, the students are the purpose for the work. And
Come on.
so finding opportunities to re-energize, relax, and get into the work and
Right.
be about the action,
Yes.
to impact generations. And you mentioned the late great Morris Collins,
Yes.
and his impact, but he was somebody who withstood the test of time,
Yes.
and thinking about all the things that he went through there in our little town. But beyond that, just thinking about, what gifts we as educators have
Uh-huh.
to impact generations, and not losing or throwing away that gift and opportunity to, again, inspire and to enlighten and obviously educate the youth.
Yes. Ooh, I tell you,
Mhm.
I need a moment to get myself together, because when you talked about, you know, speaking life and bringing life and to children, when you have that opportunity, people don't understand why I'm still doing this work
Mhm,
after
mhm.
beginning in 1987. First of
Yes.
all, I wanted to do and become something that they said I never could do. In Warrensburg, they said, why don't you become a secretary at the
Yeah.
welfare office so you can help your family?
Mm.
That's what they looked at me and said.
Yeah.
That's all they thought of me.
Right. Right.
I wanted to do so. I wanted to teach. I
Yeah.
wanted to be a teacher. I didn't even know all what that meant, but I knew that I wanted to do it.
Mhm. Yeah.
And speaking life, that's what keeps me going. You have to understand that seeing children of today, whether
Mhm.
it's my goddaughter, whether it's my godson, my god granddaughter. I don't have, these are my little cousins. These are my little cousins I'm talking
Mhm.
about. That I want to speak life into them. I want them to
Mhm.
be better than what I've done. I don't want them to have to struggle as much. But if you do have to struggle, I want you to, first of all, to know that you have to be on a firm foundation. You can't do this by
Yes.
yourself
Right. Right.
just to make
Yeah.
it. Ooh, I tell
Yeah.
you, well, I mean,
Yeah.
I was gonna say, you've messed me up today, because I'm telling you, my mind and my heart, whoo, you have said
Uh,
so much. I need to come down to
yes.
Charlotte Mecklenburg. I'm just gonna go ahead and put that officially on the record.
Yes. Yes. Well,
Lord,
you are
I tell
welcome
you,
here
oh,
anytime.
oh my gosh, I tell you what, my soul is happy today.
Yes.
I'm going
Yes.
to shake my
Yes.
tambourine. I just want to say
Yes.
this to our educators. First of all, teachers, thank you.
Mhm. Yes.
Out of all
Yeah.
the things that I've been,
Yeah.
if somebody would ask me, where do you feel like you've done the greatest good?
Mhm. Mhm.
And I would have to go all the way back to 1987, even though God has blessed me to
Yes.
touch and empower and to
Mhm.
leave
Mm.
things better than what I was when I started.
Right. Right.
Being a teacher, which I'll always be. If
Mhm.
somebody would call me tonight, I
Mhm.
would take my little rollie over here with my substitute plans.
Yes.
This involves with some music and some Jenga and all different types of things, just in case they don't have anything prepared. I would be able to
Yeah.
step into a classroom
Mhm. Mhm.
any day, anytime. Teaching is
Mhm.
love to me.
Mhm. Mhm.
I'm just going to say this in closing.
Mhm.
Teachers, I want you to show up every day. And if you have trouble finding the joy, take time to find one thing that causes you to have that joy. I pray that it's the children. And when
Mhm.
things get tough, and I mean they're really tough right now,
Yes.
you determine, what am I going to do to bounce back? I got to come back. Children need me. I got to come back because children are expecting me to show up. I got to come back because I am shaping the future. I got to come back because I have the power to lift every student.
Mhm.
And
Mhm.
then that
Mhm.
word that's over my shoulder, show up every day with hope. But
Hope.
most importantly, always let
Mhm.
your light shine, let
Mhm.
it shine, let it shine. Thank you, Effuah
Yes.
Sam, for
Yes.
being here. Thank you for speaking life
Mhm.
to my audience today and to me. Until we meet again, may his peace be with you.
Thank you.